trouble in this is I know this is not looking very good. I'm not focusing, and this is the fifth tape. I doubt this will even go up anyway. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off there. Senator John Sparkman, and God knows that the rest of the people are in on it. JFK's father was ambassador when was kidnapped. That's like the real thing over. I'm trying to get this done so I can get up and try to walk. My God. But JFK, and you laugh because it's the only way to get through it, or you run out screaming. Maybe I should do this one over too while I'm at it. But anyway, John F. Kennedy's father was ambassador to Great Britain when I was kidnapped. He helped with it. Roosevelt, my own Uncle George, who became the illegal George VI, thus Elizabeth, thus her brood. They're part of the New World Order. They sold out Great Britain. They sold out my father, and yes, I am the legal heir, Victoria II. So back to the health spa, Cosmopolitan, in Huntsville. I managed the women's, back then it was one day male, next day female, that type of thing, which I like better, by the way. Nice, to give a little background on it was nice health spa. And Victoria was the name of the girl that took her place. And later I find I'm Victoria II, and my name's really Margaret Ann Windsor, not Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. Name of a twin, Moulton, Alabama. Both of them were dead, killed by their mother, Lina. So I've gone on and during the tapes and told you about mind control. I wrote about and being out at Flint's, who did try to help, and he had been shot in Lawrenceville. So you have to have background almost on a tape in case you haven't heard the other tapes or care to listen to it. But what you do with it is like you can knock off, if you're dealing, it doesn't take that much anymore. They're so sophisticated now. Listen to Premier Radio at night. The only one that really gets close to telling the truth, and that's George Norrie and all that, and Art Bell. Remember Art Bell? Nice person. But it's so updated now, mind control can be done real easy. Back then, I was telling about teaching you at a low level mind control. You teach you the Morse code. You're not aware you're getting it because the level that's being transmitted to you. So anyway, you could do it with handsets. And now that's how they can rate in the middle of the night. And I'd mentioned Simpson, O.J. Simpson. His cousin that worked for the police department in Los Angeles tried to tell people you imagine or in dreams. Well, that's how they get to you. I can't tell you all the ins and outs. Try talking to a psychiatrist, and they do know, or they should be booted out of the profession. And if they can't be honest, then boot them out. And yes, they do know. Who do you think helped do all this mess? But now then, I wanted to get back to Carl telling me they had one child, that he was married to the mother, and they were divorced then at Warren House, and he was sent over to Warren House 5 years ahead of me coming there. And by the way, that meant they knew that I was going to be filled full of antifreeze and end up over there. So he he told me that the other 3 children there were his, but the mothers didn't even know it. So they hypnotized. However you do it, they were hypnotized. And his new wife, that was a teacher in Athens at a college, he introduced us, and he told her, he said, tell her who I am, and I said, he's FBI agent, and she laughed, no, she wouldn't believe it. Her husband had just died. He had a heart attack, I believe. So this gets into what I was writing about. You can hypnotize, put them under mind control, and you modify their behavior. You can program them to kill, like James Holmes in Tucson, Arizona, the mass murders by the Korean student, well, the persons that gave him the commands here in Roanoke, or next door in Roanoke, at Blacksburg, at Virginia Tech, and there's a list of murders uh, there that they don't tell you about that were mind control murders. And the psychiatrist that did the shootings at Fort Hood, he was a psychiatrist, and he was born here in Vinton, Roanoke. It's the same thing, really. And he finished school and went on to psychiatry somewhere else, medical, but at Virginia Tech, Blacksburg, next door. So now that's been said to give you some background on it. Now then, whether they killed Carl Smith, the woman he married, I mean, you could go out and pick somebody out really with what they're doing, and how do you know? And say, well, she's really cute, and this girl was cute, woman. She's a woman, and they had money, and hey, just knock off her husband, and hey, you marry her. Hope you didn't have to hypnotize her to get her to marry you, but you knocked off her husband. Let's just use this as maybe. So now then, I want to go to John Sparkman, the U.S. Congressman from Alabama. They're so part of my kidnapping and bringing hostage money into NASA there in Huntsville and all of it, and bringing people in. The only person that I knew that was the really good guy would have been Werner von Braun, who was head of the space program until they killed him. You think he died of cancer. Well, it's induced. So anyway, I'm going to have to quit in a minute. I wanted to go to one other. Oh, it was John Sparkman's niece. She came to the health spa where I work, Cosmopolitan. And I don't know why she was being friendly to me. I mean, she was likable. Gail Copeland. Gail Copeland was her name. And she was the niece and had this cushiony job right next to U.S. Senator John Sparkman's office in Huntsville. And I went down and saw her a couple times. She became kind of friendly with me and this and that. And I didn't know about being Margaret Ann Windsor, being kidnapped and all this. At that time, I didn't find out until '83, and this was right after Kennedy was killed. I was working at Pizitz during that time. And now then, the one I wanted to go to Gail Copeland. Let's fast forward to '80. I'd done the book about mind control and Larry McDonald, a doctor, congressman, and all this. And I'd gotten filled full of antifreeze. I'm across the state line, should have died. Living in my brain's burned. I've got damage to my brain, for God's sake. And I got a woman that's trying to shut me up that called herself my mother and killed her twins. And if it's told, she'll face the gas and the death penalty in Alabama. And if I got the book published, that would be a certain. So she's trying to shut me up too, and the law's doing nothing but helping her, believe me. Anyway, during that time, after I had the letter from the FBI, and I've got that was June the 23rd of '79, I'm across the state line, got antifreeze in me. Nobody's touched any of this except I'm still having the law broken against me. Don't know if my kids are alive, and ongoing hell is really what it is. And the part was Gail Copeland back then had been kind of friendly and all that, and I'd gone and seen her in the office that she worked. The job was for HUD, I believe. It was a federally, and she had good money, and her uncle furnished her the job, John Sparkman, and he's a part of this whole thing, the U.S. Congressman, Senator. Now, there's a part about Gail, and I'm going to lose it on this if I try to tell it. More background, so I'm just going to get to it. What's going on. Gail, when I went back in '80 and '82, she had married a guy that had lots of money, an older man. He had suddenly died of a heart attack, I believe, and left her all his money, which was a lot, and a bar and grill, a nice layout next to the health spa I'd worked at